Super presentation by Supermetrics. So thank you, Dukes, and thank you, Victor. I was following what's happening over a Zulip chat, and people particularly liked the format where there was a replica or dual node setup between you two guys. So, and you got a couple of questions over Zulip, and some of them even were not got in a bit late, so that you can, as I understand, follow up after we do the live Q&A. So my first question on the live Q&A is about architecture. So you were talking about not just MariaDB, but other solutions as well, like NoSQL and key value store. So when thinking about architecture or your product, how do you parse the architecture? How do you decide which parts of your setup goes with which architecture?
So a lot of what we do is having data flow through our systems. So we cache a lot of data for shorter periods, and in that case, key value stores are an excellent option. So that's one thing. How long are we going to store the data? Obviously, the size of the data. When we're dealing with gigabytes and hundreds of gigabytes, SQL databases and NoSQL databases are fine. When we get into multiple terabytes, we're maybe looking more towards the data warehouse type of storage. And of course, the data structure as well. So if we see that we need to do, for example, complicated joins between data, then in that case, relational databases and the data warehouses that are SQL based are good choices.
And I can add to that by saying, from the practical perspective, what that usually means to us is we have to first starting off with the data source on the other end, then start the planning process looking at what data we're pulling, and then how the data flows through our system. It's not always easy, and we actually make quite a few mistakes during the planning.
It's a lot of experimenting as well, yes.
Yeah, and sometimes we don't have access to the customers and data, and so we spend a lot of time trying to replicate what our customers might be pulling in order to find all the different types of data pools. It's not easy, unfortunately. I think we're only scratching the surface by giving you this answer, to be fair.
Well, you mentioned data warehousing. I'm picking up one question that you got on Zulip. Did you have a look at MariaDB column store?
Well, considering I answered the answer on Zulip, no, we didn't. And to be fair, it's partly my brain is blanking on why we didn't. I know that we talked about it, but I think in the end we decided to go with PrestoDB in a very specific case. And I seem to think and remember part of it was a lack of ops expertise in managing a MariaDB column store at the time, and our ability to use the managed PrestoDB won over the use of the MariaDB column store. So it's one of the things that we look at when we're thinking about moving to SkySQL, for example, or SkySQL, is being able to use some of those managed services. Our organization really is about how we can leverage other organizations to help us get to where we need to get to, rather than always having in-house staff.
So you mentioned SkySQL or SkySQL. I also don't know how to pronounce it properly. In that context, what's the difference from your standpoint between SkySQL and MariaDB?
I'll take this one. A couple of different things. So MariaDB for us is the technology base, and that's same in SkySQL as well as in MariaDB org. It is a technology. You know, we use and run a MariaDB databases internally for all sorts of different reasons. The technology itself, great, fantastic. The other part of it is more of a business concern for us. As we grow the organization, as we grow more into enterprise, there are several things that we have to keep in mind is our ability to support technology and making sure that we have round-the-clock coverage for any issues that happen and how that works out. It's a lot of people and ops considerations that we take into account, monitoring, alerting, all those things. But then we have data concerns, making sure that whatever technology we use is hosted in the correct regions, how we can manage those regions, how we can manage vendors. And then the third, very specifically and very important to us, is we want to be as cloud agnostic as possible. And that requires us to look at how we can leverage all of the three major, certainly the two major cloud vendors that we use to support our customers. And SkySQL then plays into that very much, both from a managed perspective as well as from being cloud agnostic.
And as we mentioned, we're pretty much done the same or similar move with Redis and been very happy with using Redis Labs Enterprise. So yeah.
Good. Well, we're drawing close to our allotted time, but a brief question on technology. You could answer it for 1 hour, but you have less than a minute. JSON, how important is JSON for you?
Well, JSON is at the heart of all the data that we touch. Most of the data that we pull in from the data sources are JSON, and we store a lot of JSON. So yeah, it's a key format for us. We haven't actually used it that much in terms of the relational databases, but that's probably something that we're gonna use more in the future as well.
That's using SkySQL and MariaDB's JSON features are going to be crucial for us as we grow.
Which also means that I will have to thank you now, Victor and Dubs, for a great presentation and good answers. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much for having us.